If you're passionate about change and love a good laugh, then you need to join Chuck and Joe. Chuck and Joe are a dynamic husband and wife duo, tackling the biggest issues across the nation and around the globe. With a blend of wit and wisdom, they dive deep into current events, giving you the lowdown with a side of humor. They're not just talking heads, they're your fellow freedom fighters, committed to sparking meaningful conversations. From politics to social justice, no topic is off limits. So hit that subscribe button and join the freedom fighter community today. Let's laugh, learn, and fight for a better world together. Welcome to the Freedom Fighters podcast, where serious meets funny, just like Chuck and Joe.
Hello, America, and good evening. This is Chuck and Joe and the Freedom Fighters podcast. I'm Joe, and let's get to fighting for freedom. I want to bring to you several different news reports today from around America. We're going to kind of jump around, so if you could follow me, that would be great. I have a lot to tell you in a lot of different places. I hope you enjoy this podcast. Let's just get this off at the beginning. If you really like me, please push the like button. If you really, really like me, push the like and subscribe button. We would be glad to have you join our freedom fighters. We're always looking for new people. If you have any comments, please don't be afraid to put them down below. And if you'd like to email me, you can do that also. And that's at the Freedom Fighters Podcast. It's the Freedom Fighters Podcast at gmail.com. Let's get into it, everyone. This is Monday, February 9th, 2026. And boy, is America booming with problems. I would like to talk to you first about some whistleblowers that are not getting enough attention, I feel, in Minnesota. If it would not be for Nick Shirley and for the whistleblowers that are coming forward in the past and the ones that are still coming forward currently, we would not have half the information that we have right now. We thank you, whistleblowers, and we thank you, Nick Shirley, for bringing this problem to our attention, not just from Minnesota, but from California and around America. First of all, there are reports and evidence that Tim Walz's department, and this has been confirmed, of Human Services created false records. You're not hearing that out on the newscasts, CBS or NBC, MSNBC, any of them. It is confirmed. He failed to identify grant receipts and attempted to cover up his tracks, by the way, giving way for the widespread fraud. Now, folks, there's no way that Tim Walz didn't know about this. And we all know that he had several assassinations last year. And we all know that one of them that is in jail, the one that is in jail, that shot these poor people, has claimed that Walz had something to do with this. At first, I thought that might be a stretch, and maybe he was just trying to get out of trouble. But the more that I read on what Walz has accomplished, what he has done, and what he has threatened of his own people, Democratic Party in Minnesota, it scares me to think of what he's truly capable of. Now, that's my opinion, and my opinion only. And of course, until he's gone through a court of law, we still have to say that all these things, even though they've been confirmed through paperwork, he's innocent of until proven guilty. That being said, that's why the Democrats are cooperating right now. Well, at least halfway cooperating now. Trump has pulled back billions of dollars, if you're not aware of this, from all the blue states. Millions and billions of dollars. They're not getting funding. Now they're all scratching their heads and becoming quite irritable because they don't know where to get their money from. Turns out that the Democratic Party has only so many millions in assets, and they are way below on income. Go figure, right? In fact, they're so low that they're in the hole. And they can thank Kamala Harris for that and Tim Walz. Good luck on your fundraising, folks. Anyway, they are now texting I can't say this word, I apologize, constituents, and asking for funding to house illegal aliens, not to help Americans, but to house illegal aliens and to help with funding of the Democratic Party. Democrats, I think it's time for you to find a new party if you're not all the way left. I wish you luck. You're welcome to come on over to our side, although we're going to get rid of some rhinos, I can tell you that. Excuse me, I have a really bad cold. Forgive me. And it's just kind of funny that they're asking for money from all of us when they've taken billions and trillions of dollars from us already. But hey, if you Democrats want to pay them, it's your money, your dollar. But they're not taking our tax dollars anymore. And for that, I think, whether it's J.D. Vance, a committee that's doing it, or Elon Musk, we thank you for finding it, and Nick Shirley. Okay, so a little bit on down the road from there, I want to tell you about Washington. Washington this week has a very important bill coming up, in all seriousness. This is one that I hadn't heard of, but I've done some research on, and I thought maybe I could bring it in front of you, the American people, in our Freedom Fighters podcast. It's called the Pause Act. It's to pause immigration, all immigration across the board. They're going to redo the entire immigration policy, including the diversity visa, the chained migration and birthright citizenship, and then they're going to codify POTUS and what POTUS has done to stop housing taxpayers fund illegals getting college tuition. That's this week, all of it. We need to get on our representatives and our senators and let them know that we as Republicans, we as MAGA, we as Christians support these, and we want them put through. On a little lighter note, before I get into heavier stuff, I hope you guys enjoyed, and you women enjoyed, the football game last night. Congratulations to the Seahawks. Very nice game. That being said, Bad Bunny, I did not watch you last night. I watched you later just because I was curious about all the bad things I was hearing. However, right now, what I want to speak to is Kid Rock and Turning Point USA. I have to say, that was probably the best NFL halftime show that I have seen in a decade, maybe more. I enjoyed all the songs. I enjoyed watching it. My kids enjoyed watching it. My grandchildren enjoyed watching it. It was amazing. Kid Rock, I loved your song at the end. The whole thing brought tears to my eyes and many Americans. And thank you for bringing God back into our home in a time when our country really needs it. Thank you for that. And Bad Bunny, you're a bad bunny. Shame on you. Shame on you. You speak of love for everyone. But what I saw was you loved everyone but the United States citizens. Where was the love for us? You tore flags around, from many, many countries, had many things to say, but never said a thank you to any of the United States citizens who've been through a heck of a mess and are still supporting you immigrants. We're all immigrants, as a matter of fact. My family's part Indian. My family was here originally. And I also have family that came from England. So myself am an immigrant in the past. But here's the difference. Immigrants, when they come into our country, they do it the right way. These immigrants that cross the border in hundreds and thousands of people, you've wrecked America. You've made it something it's not, and you're tearing down our country. Now, I'm sure there are some good immigrants out there that are non-vetted. And to you, I'm sorry, but you still need to come in the right way. Even the immigrants that have been American citizens now for years or just a couple of days, they want you to come in the right way. But the rest of you that came from prisons, penitentiaries, gangs from around the world, bad governments that sent you here, get out. We don't want you. Okay, this is America. And Bad Bunny, I don't think that you think about the American citizens at all. Or maybe you could have included us in that to help us feel a little bit more included. It's not bad enough that we couldn't understand you in the middle of the football game, the biggest football game of the year and the biggest sporting event every year around the world, held in America, and yet we couldn't understand it. Thanks, NFL. We appreciate you also. And whoever put Bad Bunny on, you're a bad accomplice. Get out. All right. Let's move on to the next part. I want to tell you, we were just talking about how we are getting new bills in and the whistleblowers in Minnesota. I kind of like to go back to some of the stuff from Minnesota and some of the protesters. Everyone, I need to fill you in on a lot. All right. This stuff, I don't know why is not being brought forth onto the regular news broadcasts, but it needs to be. I don't see how they can call themselves reporters anymore. They're certainly not reporting the truth. Perhaps we need laws against that too, huh? Anyway, we're finding out, like I've reported in the past, that George Soros is funding the protesters and all the people on the ground. Tell me how that's right. Okay? Tell me how that's right. It's funny. I heard for myself the other day, and don't say this isn't true, George Soros, from the governor, and I reported this to everyone in Freedom Land, that the mayor of San Diego said that most of the protesters in California are not from California. They're being bussed in and being flown in. They're making $80,000 to $120,000 a year. They're making, by another podcaster, Joel at True Life News, reported they're making $3,500 to $5,000 a week, depending. It's ridiculous. If those states want those things, that's their business. But Soros, you're not an American. We know that. We know you're a communist, a socialist at best. Leave our country. We don't want you here either. We don't consider you an American. In fact, what you're doing is treason. And what I learned in government was treason. Well, let's think about this. Treason was punishable by death. Oh, yeah, death. I think, and it's my opinion, that just once we should carry out such a thing. You know why? Because you elites are out of control. You people from out of the United States that think you have our country and own our country are out of control. And maybe, just maybe, if we made an example out of one of you, the rest of you would get the picture. You're surely not helping the American people. We don't want you here. And for all of those listening around the world, what you're seeing on our news channels is not what the American people want. Just to let you know that. Elon Musk, we owe you a huge thank you. You were there for President Trump when he was running. You joined our party, came over from the Democrats a long time ago, and for that we're thankful. We know you've had a difficult time with your relationship with your child. We're sorry for that. God will mend it someday, I promise you that. But thank you for standing on the side that God made. And thank you for all the things you supported. Just want to let the American people know something else. He doesn't put this out there. The news finds this out. They ramp it into something it's not. And we podcasters go research it and tell you the truth. Elon has sent an extra $30 million because he's already funded $10 million to the primary. Because the primary is so important this year, everyone. I've tried to explain to you what's gone on and how everything was rigged with the voting in 2020 and how our elections are being taken away from us and how they're taking over America with not just our elections, but with our children. Elon may be a millionaire or a billionaire. I don't care which, but he's using his funds for good things. And he obviously loves America. Elon, thank you. And we support you. Thank you for coming out and helping with the primaries. And he also put another word out to Antifa and to all you Democrats. And I'm going to quote him. Elon said, "I will pay for legal defense for anyone speaking the truth about the protesters. So if you come out and you're protested in the Democratic states, well, you too are now backed. Elon Musk will pay your defense if you are put in jail for anything." Again, thank you, Elon. And thank you for all our podcasters, all the people on the ground, all Americans, from great to small, from big to little, any ethnic group, any nationality, any religion. Thank you for standing up for the American people. We appreciate it. And as for another foreign person, Ilhan Omar, you don't need to be in our Congress and you need to get out. You are being investigated by the good old ethics committee in Congress, right? But somehow, graciously, they can't do it. They've backed out. And why you ask America? Well, because they say they don't have the jurisdiction over her husband. Easy cop out, ethics committee. But we have another committee that has some balls. You know, like Christmas balls, you know, things you hang on the tree. Yeah, they have those. The ethics committee, you need to go follow them and find a pair because this is what's coming. The oversight committee's coming after you and your husband, Ilhan Omar. You have a winery in California that you started out at, I don't remember the exact amount, but I'm going to say around $50,000 maybe. And in 2 years' time, you took it over to $30 million. Now, here's the funny part of that, everyone. I'm going to read this to you. Her husband's name is Tim Minute. I can't pronounce the last name. Forgive me. You can look it up. And he has no known clients, according to the website of this winery, because it's now scrubbed from the internet. But guess what? Benny Johnson from the Benny Show found the real truth to that. And lots of people copied it. You could try to take it off, but it's there. It's there, Elon. It's there, Tim. And we found out he has no clients, no known investment deals, and no valid FCC registration for this winery. He has no line presence, no marketable products available for purchase online either. And to beat that, everyone in America and my freedom fighters. An investor in 2024 actually sued him, her husband, Tim, for claiming fraudulent, they sued him and his investors allegedly for claiming fraudulent misrepresentation of the winery as a legitimate business operation. Now, I tried to look up and find out what's happened or what happened. They scrubbed that too, but there are other ways of finding it, and I will. However, the litigation was true. What does that say? It says that you're a thief, a Somalian thief, not an American thief. And you go on people's podcasts and on the news saying how you're an American citizen, you can't get kicked out. Well, you are wrong. Sorry, you weren't born here. You were given the right to become an American citizen. And in that right, you promised to never get in any kind of legal trouble with fraud or any of the things that you're involved in. You also tried to set up a dependency program for addicts in a restaurant, Omar, and that one's in your name. Shame on you. Addicts have enough trouble. They don't need you lying and making fun of the problems that they're having. Okay? And your name's on that one. You're going down. And you're going to be kicked out. And as far as I'm concerned, pack your husband's bag and your brother's bag, your ex-husband. That's right. Your brother, your ex-husband, we all know. Yeah, last I checked, that was against the law in America also. And when in America, do as Americans. Okay? That's what we believe. That's what the law says. Not your Somalian, let's marry our brother or sister trick and be thieves and anything else that we can do to lie, cheat, or steal. Get out of our Congress and get out of America. We don't want you here. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. I've got something for you, Elon. I just remembered this. Dadgummit. As Tim would say from Tennessee. Dadgummit. I found something fortunate for you. Something that may help you to win your cases. Why don't you use the Hunter Biden playbook? That's right. The Hunter Biden playbook. He's on your team last I checked. Thanks. Have a great day. Okay, next, we're moving on. Well, everyone, if it's not bad enough that we have Ilhan Omar from Congress ripping us off, now we have our own teachers union getting involved in politics. You know, it's okay for them to be involved in politics. They're not to bring it to our schools. Teachers, you don't tell my children who to vote for. And you certainly don't teach them who to vote for. And if you're doing it, you should be out on your ass like a donkey, right on it. Hee-haw. Okay? On it. Yeah. You are taking our children, teaching them things against our wishes, and then releasing them in the streets with signs that they don't understand in adult circumstances that a kindergartner and preschooler can't understand, and teaching them to disrespect officers. Now, I don't care if these are ICE officers, police officers, state officers. I don't care what kind of officer they are. If they're an officer, they're an officer. And in America, we have respect for those people. We teach our children that. And as far as I'm concerned, we need a new teachers union and a whole bunch of new teachers. That's right on through college. You Harvard professors, you need to be ousted too. I'm ashamed to call Harvard University a part of America. I'd take Cambridge over you right now. You suck, Harvard. You suck. It's time for Princeton, Yale, whoever else to take your place. And I hope the government sends their officers to one of those other schools, just like It was told to the American citizens. I hope it happens, because you certainly don't deserve our funding. Certainly don't deserve our funding. When you're taking billions of dollars from people outside of the United States with the CCP, with Russian ties and whatever else tie you want to put in. I'm ashamed to call Harvard a college in America. If I were you, I'd change the name. And you students, I'm sorry, but America feels the same way I do. I see it from all the freedom fighters that write in. I've seen it across America in general, and I actually saw this on the news. Way to go, Fox. Way to report some things that are correct. You know, Harvard, the last thing I have to say, you think learning is so important? Well, here's a lesson for you. Get the hell out. Now that donkey that the others rode out on, yeehaw, there's room. Go sit on your ass. Bye. Next, we're going to talk about some speakers. We're going to go into our Congress. We're going to talk about the minority speaker. Hello, John. I'm Joe. This is the Freedom Fighters Podcast. We're here to tell you that you are supposed to do the will of the people, not what you want. We think that you're riding with George Soros. Yeah, that's what we think. You tell me, excuse me, how 51% of conservatives want the SAVE Act to go through. 48.9% of the liberals want the SAVE Act to go through. So that is between 75 and 85% of the population, including minorities, according to Fox and their survey. And you're not going to put it through? My Republican friend, how stupid are you? Last I checked, you work for us. Okay? We don't work for you. We elect you. We put you there. And we personally don't care if Mitch McConnell was your predecessor and your teacher. He's our rhino too. And thank God he's getting out. And Elon, he's helping to fight for Kentucky. Our southern friends from Indiana. Listen, Kentucky, we feel sorry for you. Mitch McConnell, get him out. He's leaving anyway, but wish him a goodbye and put him on that donkey, will you? There's still room on there. Turning back to my news. Soon, in case you don't know, on a serious note, election integrity is the most important thing in a republic. If we don't have free and fair elections, we have nothing. We have a government that will be ran by, I don't know, dictators, right? Communists. Whoever else wants to jump in there, right? Stop it. Election integrity is the most important thing on your agenda, Thune. And I don't care what you're looking at that you have to do this week. And I don't care about all the senators jumping on a plane by Thursday to get to Munich to go to help and watch what the government in Munich is doing when you can't control your own government, when you can't pass your own bills. The SAVE Act is in there. Should be passed. We want it passed. We're second to you. Remember that America First thing that we all voted in with a major majority, and all the states that we carried that were swing states? How many was that? Oh, all of them. We want you to do what we want you to do, not what you want to do. Especially when 85% of the country's telling you what they want. Thune, it just proves how dirty that you are. And if I'm wrong, well, okay, I'll apologize. You get this act through. We're watching you. Yeah, that's a promise. The things you haven't done is cut spending in a meaningful way. You haven't given ICE or Homeland Security all the resources they need. This is a Congress that works less than half the time that they should. You work for less than half the time that you're paid to work. And yet you want the middle class to pay your wages, to pay where you want to go, and to give you money to go to Munich when we have America on the line right now. You know what, Mr. Republican, minority speaker? Get the hell on that donkey too. We're going to get a cart. His back's breaking. Moving on. I am going to give credit where credit's due. The House of Representatives. You deserve a lot of credit. You're getting the job done. The Senate is where the bills go to sleep and die. Yeah. They got one passed, right? Kudos. Kudos to you, Senate. The big, beautiful bill, but that took the president coming down and wheeling and dealing, didn't it? Couldn't even do that on your own. Since July, you've done nothing in the Senate. We are asking you, Thune, from the American people to put the SAVE Act through. And if you don't, we're going to do our best to get you out. And that's a MAGA promise. That's a Republican promise. And that is a Christian promise. And that is a freedom fighter's promise. Like I said, the donkey has room. And the last thing I kind of want to go over tonight, well, maybe there's two more things, is, well, first of all, I want to give some more credit where it's due. Republican Byron Donalds from Florida, we love you. You're an amazing, amazing Republican or representative. You represent the United States well. And you are also the gubernatorial elect, I believe. We hope you win. We love your past governor. Here's what I want to tell you about it. The states out in California and Colorado are despicable. They cheated when it came to voting in 2020. They tried to cheat in 2024. They're constantly rigging things and changing things so that votes can come in whatever way they choose. And I've explained to everyone in Freedom Land how this works, with what machines, how they're doing it, what countries are involved, and what's happening in the American voting system. These blue states, these blue cities are not helping. For example, California, you're supposed to stop by law counting votes when the clock stops. At the end of the day, at 6 p.m., you are to stop your voting on election day. Instead, you were counting votes 4 weeks later. Colorado, you're not much better. You were changing postmarks, or not postmarking, period. Dates. That's okay. That Byron Donalds that I told you about from Florida, he stepped in. And you know what? His state's ballots are postmarked. Their voting ends at the end of the voting day at the right time, at the right place. And they have more retirees than any other state in our great union. They have more people per capita than every other state except for California. And yet their votes are correct. I don't care if you're voting Republican, and I don't care if you're voting Democrat. I don't care if you're voting liberal, or if you just go in and you mark stuff. Okay? What I do care about is that it's done fairly and you've had that opportunity. And that the people that are watching it give us that chance to make our votes correct and to make them count. To not have people that have been dead for 300 years making votes and counting them 10 times, or having groups of Somalians bring hundreds and hundreds of votes in a car and throw them in after time. No. Okay? Again, messing with a federal election is a felony. It's also, in my book, treason, punishable by death. You say that's too harsh? I say it takes one time for someone to be punished the correct way and for all this crap to stop. Now, do I believe in the death penalty? I don't know. One day I do, one day I don't. I'm just going to be honest. Kind of depends on the situation. I don't really believe God gave us the right to take another life, but I don't think that he gave us, the right, how do I say this? To stand back and say it's okay with what you're doing if you're doing something so horrible, or have done something so horrible that to let you live is a crime in itself. So that being said, I don't know what your punishment should be, but I know this: you shouldn't go in front of a Democratic judge. I know this, that you should be taken in front of people that are going to give you a trial that is right, that represents the American people, that represents the Constitution of the United States, and it represents what we stand for as a country. End of story. And while we're talking about victims, I want you to understand something. The people in Minnesota that want to do things right, you're victims. Nate Freedom paid protesters in America per Wall Street Apes, at Wall Street Apes. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. Paid protesters in America. Immediately, Wall Street Apes noticed 10 different protesters, recognized them, each for attending 2+ different protests. Now, you think that's a coinky-dink? I don't believe in coincidences. Some of them were up to 10. And that's just what we saw. A nonprofit exposed that $20 million was paid for protesters by George Soros. Another NGO being funded by George Soros caught organizing protests with hats, gloves, food, water, gas masks, money, bus rides, flights, hotels, and anything else needed as specified by protesters that would give their allegiance to an organized, I dare not say what this says, to an organized crime party as far as I'm concerned. 4 different protest organizers identified, and they were exposed. They were pissed. They're mad. And you know what's even funnier when we're on that situation? Let me tell you. Protesters, Minnesota, Tim Walz, the mayor, all those people on board there that were giving Trump such a rough time. Going to shut down the government, everyone, because they want our ICE people to wear cameras, right? To wear cameras. We obliged. We took down 700 ICE people. We put on cameras. And lo and behold, guess what we caught? Well, let me help you there. We caught protesters. Those 4 I just told you about were exposed and they were pissed. Now they don't want those cameras because it's infringing upon their rights. They don't want people to know who they are. No, they're not supposed to know that. But yet they want to unmask our ICE people and know who they are. Boy, is that just double-sided. You know what I say? Be careful what you want. Welcome to Candid Camera. Yeah. Moving on. Last story I'm going to bring to you, which is pretty much breaking. The FBI is secretly prepared and disputed election and political violence in 2020 bombshell. J6 memo show. That's right. The FBI participated in the January 6th insurrection. Hello, hello. Have we not been saying that? I feel like Trump has in every way been, how do I want to say this? He's been made right. Put it in a nice way. They ran, being the FBI, a tabletop exercise in Boston. Excuse me. They ran a tabletop exercise in Boston in August, 5 months before January 6th. They were preparing for their plan before it was implemented. And Kash Patel just brought these memos and turned them over to Congress because he supposedly just found them per their request. But the FBI knew that there was going to be trouble and that there were high intentions, expectations, anger on both sides. And it was going to be a highly contested presidential election. So on the surface, some of that sounds good, right? Yeah, okay. Let's go with it. Number one, this is one of the things I found. They planted informants inside the crowds where they thought violence might occur. Oh, okay. Well, that was to help, right? They put them in there to help. Okay. A dozen informants were on the ground. Well, okay, they were going to help too, right? Yeah. And they recommended mass prosecutions at the end, including the little crimes. Why would they do that? They were helping stop it. Why would they do that? Because they were involved. The people on the ground and in the crowd, they were riling up or revving up, however you want to say it, the crowd to get more and more violent, to push through the gates, to push through the halls of our Congress, and to get in there and to scare people. All the while Nancy Pelosi sat in her little office and then her little limousine and ignored calls from the police on whether they should have extra people down there. She ignored the calls for help from soldiers. As far as I'm concerned, they're insurrectionists, and they should all be punished. Again, I feel like it's treason. And again, punishable by death, right? They got lots of info. Yeah, they got lots of info from Antifa because they had people planted. But guess what they didn't do? They didn't pass it on. They didn't pass it on. And they found it on these memos. It's on these memos in the FBI that have now been turned over to our Congress. They implemented strategy that hurt conservatives, not liberals. And most of all, they didn't warn the people that could have stopped the involvement, the violence, the killing that day. Could have stopped it, everyone. They could have saved lives. And this is the legacy of the Chris Wray FBI. Congratulations, guys. It's a hell of a legacy and a heck of an embarrassment. I don't know that I could say anything better than Anna Paluna. She puts everything into perspective, no matter what she's asked. And she was asked about the Epstein files and, Ghislaine Maxwell testifying and her claiming the fifth on everything. That's right, she claimed the fifth, even though she got moved to a PUD, and I mean a PUD penitentiary, when she was supposed to spend the next 20 years of her life in hardcore penitentiary for sex crimes. But she said she would give her testimony, complete testimony, everything that happened with Epstein, if she got clemency. Clemency. You bitch, you don't deserve anything. You are the devil in sheep's clothing. As far as I'm concerned, I hope you're taken down. And I know that's a mean thing to say, and as a Christian, I feel guilty. And at the same time, I don't. These poor ladies out there that survive things that should never be done to anyone, let alone even thought of. And you participated in it. And now you want our president to give you clemency so that you will talk? You bitch, you can go back to where you came from. The other penitentiary. We don't need your help. We'll get it from around you. The devil only lies anyway, right, Jillian? And Anna Paula Luna said it best. My hero. She might be young, but she's wise beyond her years. Ghislaine Maxwell will get no clemency, she said. She will testify or she will be prosecuted. Thank you, Representative Anna Paulina Luna. You have the respect of America and of survivors. And most of all, of the Freedom Fighters podcast. We thank you. And the last thing I'm going to share with you is Republican Nancy Macy. She's running for gubernatorial governor of South Carolina. She wants all the torture email schemes, emails from Epstein, everything turned over without there being any blackouts, those things they do to supposedly protect us. She wants turned over to Congress. She wants lawmakers to review unredacted. She wants a subpoena for Bill Gates. Hell yeah. She wants to figure out who covered everything up. Clemency for Ghislaine? No way. That's what she says. No way. Ghislaine says Trump and Clinton are innocent of doing anything. But she wants clemency. Clemency. Yeah. Well, Republican Nancy Mace spoke on Wake Up America and NEWSMAX. Check out the interview. It'll open your eyes because this isn't being reported and it needs to be. These survivors deserve more. And people like Nancy Mace They're the people that I would want to be my governor. They're the people I would want in my Congress. People I do. And I'm going to leave you with something that Nancy Mace wrote. She wrote on February 8th, 2026, and I quote, "When the government uses its power to protect potential predators and child rapists, it's no longer serving justice. It's obstructing it. Former presidents, secretaries, and celebrities, they do not deserve the same protection as the Epstein victims." Thank you, Nancy Mace. Thank you, Tim, Representative Tim from Tennessee. Thank you to Anna Paoluna. Thank you to Elon Musk. All you people are examples of people that are my heroes. The reason I'm on this podcast, the reason my husband and I put it out together. America, join us. We have a revolution going. I'm starting and working on a movement called HACS, H-A-C-S. That's how about common sense. And I want to pick a day this year for all Christians, Republicans, liberals if they want, anyone who sees the world, wants to make it better with common sense. We want you. And if you can, I'd like you to tell me down below ideas that you would like for America, how you think that we could help out as citizens. I'd like you to join. If you'd like to, hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. Put it down below what you are capable of, what you want to do, how you'd like to help, what your skills are. We'll put you to work. I'm working with a lot of states right now, and I want to get a lot more. We're going to join a date to get things put together, and I'd love for you to be on our team at HACS. Sponsored by the Freedom Podcast. That's all I have to say, America. I want to say good night. Thank you for listening. And keep fighting for freedom. I'll see you next time. This is Chuck and Joe and the Freedom Fighters Podcast.